I had the opportunity to help with planning of this event today, and it allowed us to really do some deep thinking about what's really important to us. And at one of our meetings a few months ago, we saw a bunch of maps. There are a lot of maps up there right now, but it was the last map that was put in front of us, and for me it was the map that captured my heart and imagination, because it was a map of the waterways. It's a map of the water that runs underneath us and all around us, and is in fact for me the soul of the work of the Towerside Innovation District. And as we were thinking about this, someone who's had a big influence on me came to mind as someone that I would like to help initiate this meeting today, and that is Sharon Day. I wish I could remember when I first met her or came to understand some of her work, but Sharon has many roles. She is an activist, she is a role model, she is a mentor, she is an artist, she's a nonprofit founder and leader, and the reason I've asked her today to join us is because she is a water walker. She is an Anishinaabe grandmother who has continued the sacred tradition of the water walkers, and who respect the life-giving force of water, and who actively pray for the water. And so I asked if Sharon would be willing to join us to begin our time together. So please welcome Sharon Day. And she's not a relation.
Buju Ninindwe Maganidug, Nagamo Maingin Dishnakaz, Wabashashi and Dodem, Ojibwe Kwayan Dow, Dishnijo Medeo, Mede Wanakwayan Dow. What I said to you in the Ojibwe language is greetings, my relatives. My name is Singing Wolf, although most people know me by my Jaganash or English name, which is Sharon Day. I told you that I am from the Martin clan, and I'm an Ojibwe woman, second degree Medewin. Medewin translates in English into the Grand Medicine Society, and I'm also Medewanakwe, which is one of the head water women in our lodge. So Catherine asked me to come today and just to say a few words to you as you begin your work, and I think, I looked at some of the maps at least one of the maps that she sent me, and I think you know that the water's all around us, and in so many cities, and including St. Paul, Minneapolis, we've covered up some of those waterways with but they're still flowing underneath us. And I think as we move forward and we know better than we did years ago, we know that the rivers and streams and wetlands, that they do serve an important purpose. And try as we will to channelize the rivers, and we can't do it forever. And I think it was 2011 we were carrying the water from Gulfport, Mississippi to Lake Superior, and there was flooding that year. We started April 24th, and as we started coming upstream, and there was flooding, and there was a farm in Illinois where the U.S. Corps of Engineers blew up a dike, and that was, and so they flooded this farmer's land, and that was to save a town downstream in Illinois from being flooded. But as we continued up through Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and then into St. Genevieve and St. Mary's, there were people who would come to us and say, walk slow and pray hard. And one day there was this middle-aged gentleman, and he kept coming, and every little ways he'd take a picture, and about the fourth time was starting to feel a little weird. So I went over to him and just as I started to go to him, he came to me. And it turns out he was a city councilman from St. Mary's, and he told me that all of their groundwater had been contaminated. So when they blew up that dike and they flooded that dairy farm land, there was a coli bacteria from the cows and all the contaminated groundwater, so everybody in those towns were on a boil advisory. And so all this is to say that, as we develop and continue, we need to be thinking about, what is the best thing that we can do for the environment. And not so much what is the fastest, but what is the best possible thing that we can do. And when we live in a city where we have covered over so much already, we are very fortunate though in St. Paul, Minneapolis, because we do have so many parks and lakes, but we need to always be ever vigilant. So I want to just end with a song for you this morning. And this song takes the words from Dr. Emoto. Water, we love you. We thank you. We respect you. And as some of you may know, he was the Japanese scientist who studied water, and he would take little droplets of water and put them in trays and then speak to them lovingly and freeze them, and then they would form these beautiful crystals. On the other hand, if they said, mean words, the crystals were quite frightening. And he led many water ceremonies around lakes that were contaminated, and the people would join hands around a lake, hundreds of people, and then he would say an invocation, and part of that was, water, we love you, we thank you, we respect you. So some years ago, my sister made this into the song. So this is Ojibwe language, and of course, this land that we're on and belonged to, was resided on by the Dakota Indians and the Lakota Indians, and in the last 500 years, the Ojibwe. So you are on sacred ground always. Nibe gizake hiku kimi kwechuwe nimiku kizewe nimiku Nibe gizake hiku kimi kwechuwe nimiku kizewe nimiku Nibe gizake hiku kimi kwechuwe nimiku kizewe nimiku. Okay, now see if you can join me. Nibe gizake hiku kimi kwechuwe nimiku kizewe nimiku. Miigwech.